Have you ever wondered why some men seem to age quietly, steadily, almost invisibly, while others collapse suddenly despite eating well once in a while, despite diets, despite good intentions? I'm 97 years old now, and I've had a long time to watch bodies tell the truth. Not the truth we like to hear, but the truth they live by. And if there is one lesson that outlived every trend, every miracle plan, every fashionable rule, it is this: the body does not remember what you eat occasionally. It remembers what you eat every day. For most of my life, I believed the same comforting myths everyone else believed: that a bad week could be erased by a good weekend, that a holiday meal was dangerous, that indulgence was the enemy. But years taught me otherwise. What harmed men around me was not Christmas dinner. It was Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday. It was the quiet repetition no one thought about. The body is not emotional. It does not panic after one heavy meal, and it does not reward you for one perfect one. It responds to rhythm. It responds to routine. It responds to what you teach it, day after day, meal after meal, without drama. I watched friends obsess over cheat meals, as if one plate could undo a year of living. I watched others eat poorly most days, then cling to occasional restraint as if it could save them. Neither understood how the body keeps score. It doesn't tally moments, it accumulates patterns. What you eat every day builds your baseline, your blood sugar, your inflammation, your energy, your resilience. Occasional meals merely ripple the surface. They do not rewrite the foundation. At 97, I'm not here to sell discipline or fear. I'm here to tell you what time made undeniable. Health is not decided in extremes. It is decided in habits so ordinary they're easy to ignore. And once you understand that, everything about eating becomes clear and calmer. By the time you reach my age, patterns become louder than promises. You stop listening to what people say they believe and start watching what their bodies actually do. And what I saw again and again was that the body is a student of repetition. It learns slowly, quietly, and relentlessly from what you give it most often. When I was younger, men around me chased extremes. They fasted aggressively after indulgence. They punished themselves for a single heavy meal. They praised restraint as if it were a moral act instead of a biological one. But biology does not operate on guilt or reward. It operates on exposure. What the body sees repeatedly, it adapts to. What it sees rarely, it tolerates and then forgets. This is where most people misunderstand food. They think the body reacts like the mind, dramatically, emotionally, immediately. But the body is patient. You can eat poorly one day and nothing dramatic happens. You can eat well one day and nothing miraculous happens either. That delay fools people. They mistake silence for forgiveness and patience for immunity. But over weeks, months, years, the body begins to adjust its baseline. Eat the same kinds of foods most days, and your blood sugar settles into a predictable rhythm. Your hunger hormones recalibrate. Your inflammation either simmers quietly or never cools at all. None of this announces itself loudly. It accumulates. I learned this not from textbooks, but from funerals. Men who panicked over occasional indulgence lived anxious lives and died tired. Men who ate poorly most days, but behaved once in a while, died confused. They couldn't understand how a lifetime of exceptions failed to protect them. The truth is simple, though uncomfortable. Occasional meals do not define physiology. Daily meals do. Your body wakes up every morning expecting what you usually give it. It prepares enzymes, hormones, and metabolic pathways based on yesterday and the day before that. When food arrives that matches the pattern, the body processes it smoothly. When food arrives that deviates, the body adjusts temporarily and then returns to baseline. That baseline is the real authority. This is why one heavy meal does not ruin health, and one clean meal does not repair it. The body treats both as anomalies unless they repeat. What repeats becomes instruction. I watched men blame holidays for their decline. They pointed to birthdays, weddings, vacations. But when you looked closely, their ordinary days were quietly working against them. Too much sugar every morning, too little fiber every afternoon, processed food filling the spaces where real nourishment should have lived. Not dramatic, just consistent. Consistency is powerful because it is boring, and boredom is where responsibility hides. People want danger to look like danger. They want harm to feel harmful in the moment. But the most damaging habits feel normal. They blend into routine. They wear the disguise of comfort. This is why the title matters. What you eat every day is more important than what you eat occasionally, not because occasional meals don't matter at all, but because they lack authority. They do not set the rules. They only visit. The body forgives occasional deviation because it is designed for survival. Our ancestors did not eat perfectly every day. Scarcity and abundance alternated. The human body evolved resilience for short-term irregularity. What it did not evolve for was chronic excess or chronic deficiency repeated without pause. When indulgence becomes daily, the body stops treating it as indulgence. It becomes expectation. Insulin resistance does not appear after a feast. It appears after thousands of ordinary meals that quietly trained the system to struggle. Inflammation does not flare because of one dessert. It builds when the body is never given long enough periods of calm. The same is true in the other direction. One salad does not heal you. One good breakfast does not reset you. But repeated nourishment teaches the body trust. It lowers stress responses. It stabilizes energy. It makes hunger less frantic because the body no longer fears scarcity or overload. People often ask me what I avoided eating. That is the wrong question. The better question is what I ate regularly. Because regularity is what writes the long story. I ate simply, predictably, and without drama. Not perfectly. Predictably. I did not fear occasional richness, because fear itself disrupts rhythm. I understood that what mattered was the foundation I laid most days. Occasional meals sat on top of that foundation. They never replaced it. This understanding removes panic. It removes obsession. It removes the exhausting belief that every meal is a test you can fail. The body does not grade meals individually. It averages them. And averages are shaped by what you do most often. That is why men who live longest are rarely extreme. They are repetitive. They eat in ways that support their physiology quietly, day after day. They do not rely on correction. They rely on consistency. Once I saw that clearly, eating stopped being a battlefield. It became maintenance. And maintenance done daily outlives motivation every time. One of the quiet tragedies I witnessed over the decades was how much unnecessary fear people carried around food. Men my age grew anxious over single meals, as if one plate could undo a lifetime. That fear came from misunderstanding how the body assigns importance. The body does not overreact to what is rare. It prepares for what is regular. Occasional eating feels powerful to people because it is noticeable. Holidays stand out. Celebrations interrupt routine. Rich foods announce themselves loudly, strong flavors, heavy sensations, emotional associations. Daily meals, by contrast, fade into the background, and because they fade, people underestimate them. But the body does not operate on memory the way the mind does. It does not recall last Christmas with emotion. It responds to biochemical exposure. The systems that regulate blood sugar, fat storage, inflammation, and hunger are shaped by what they encounter repeatedly. A single deviation is processed, corrected, and absorbed back into the ongoing pattern. This is why occasional indulgence creates temporary effects rather than permanent change. Blood sugar rises, then falls. Insulin responds, then recovers. Inflammation may spike briefly, then settle if the baseline is healthy. The body is remarkably capable of handling short-term stress when it is not under constant pressure. The danger appears when people confuse frequency with severity. They assume that because a meal feels heavy, it must be damaging. But damage is not about intensity alone. It is about duration. A moderate stress applied constantly is more harmful than a strong stress applied briefly. I watched men who ate modestly unhealthy meals every day deteriorate faster than men who ate well most days and indulged occasionally. The difference was not morality or discipline. It was exposure time. The body had no recovery window in the first case. In the second, it did. This distinction matters because it reframes responsibility without creating panic. If occasional meals were decisive, life would be fragile. One mistake could define you. But the human body was not designed that way. It was designed to survive irregularity. What it struggles with is monotony of the wrong kind. Daily eating sets the tone. It determines whether the body lives in a state of repair or defense. When daily meals are balanced and predictable, the body allocates resources toward maintenance cell repair, immune regulation, stable energy. When daily meals are consistently disruptive, the body stays in response mode, constantly adjusting, constantly compensating. Occasional meals simply cannot override that state. They visit it. This is why blaming disease on holidays is convenient but inaccurate. Holidays do not create chronic illness. They reveal it. A body already under strain reacts more dramatically to indulgence. A resilient body absorbs it with little consequence. The difference was built long before the celebration. I also noticed something else over time. Men who feared occasional eating often ignored daily eating. They focused on rules for special moments while neglecting ordinary ones. They saved discipline for exceptions and allowed chaos to rule routine. That inversion quietly worked against them. The body does not need perfection. It needs predictability. It needs to know what is coming most days. When it does, it adapts efficiently. When it doesn't, when every day brings extremes, it remains stressed. This is why diets built on cycles of deprivation and indulgence fail. They create repeated physiological whiplash. The body never settles. Hunger hormones swing wildly. Energy crashes follow spikes. And people mistake that instability for normality. Occasional indulgence within a stable routine is not instability. It is variation. Variation is natural. Instability is when variation becomes the rule instead of the exception. By my 90s, I had seen enough to stop arguing with biology. I accepted that the body keeps long books, not short ones. It tallies weeks and years, not moments. It does not reward last-minute corrections. It reflects long-term instruction. This understanding frees people from two destructive beliefs at once. First, the belief that they are fragile meal away from failure. Second, the belief that they can outsmart consistency with occasional effort. Both are false. You are more resilient than you fear, and less exempt than you hope. Daily eating is powerful precisely because it is quiet. It shapes appetite, taste, and expectation. Over time, What you eat every day becomes what you crave. Occasional foods lose their power when they are no longer rare, and they lose their threat when they are no longer feared. I did not live this long by eating perfectly. I lived this long by eating predictably. My body learned what to expect from me, and it trusted that I would not shock it daily. That trust is repaid with stability. Once people grasp this, they stop negotiating with food emotionally. They stop trying to erase yesterday with today. They stop swinging between guilt and indulgence. Eating becomes steady, almost boring, and the body is often healthy. Occasional meals then return to their proper place. They become experiences, not threats. They sit on top of a foundation strong enough to hold them, and that foundation is built quietly, one ordinary day at a time. So if I could leave you with one truth earned slowly over 97 years, it would be this. Your body is not judging you for what you do once in a while. It is responding to what you teach it every day. Health is not decided in moments of celebration or regret. It is decided in ordinary mornings, familiar lunches, predictable dinners, the meals so unremarkable you barely remember them. Those are the ones that build your baseline. Those are the ones your body trusts, adapts to, and becomes shaped by. This understanding removes fear. You no longer have to live as if one meal can undo you. You no longer have to believe that perfection is required, but it also removes excuses. You cannot hide poor daily habits behind occasional restraint or special efforts. The body sees through that. It always has. What you eat every day teaches your metabolism how to behave. It teaches your hunger how loudly to speak. It teaches your energy whether to rise steadily or crash without warning. Occasional meals simply visit that system. They do not command it. At my age, I've learned that longevity is rarely dramatic. It is built through quiet agreements you keep with yourself over decades, not heroic discipline, not punishment, just consistency. If your daily eating supports your body most of the time, occasional indulgence loses its power both to harm you and to frighten you. And if your daily eating works against you, no amount of occasional correction will rescue you. The body is patient, but it is honest. It averages your choices. It reflects your patterns. It rewards repetition. That is not a threat. It is an invitation. Because once you align your ordinary days, you stop fighting your body and you start aging with it, not against it.